So today we're going to be talking about 3 ways that you are able to strive in the current job market that we are in. Let me give you guys about 30 seconds to kind of reconnect with the stream, and then I will go ahead and dive in. So again, I have notes. So if you see me kind of doing this, it's because I want to make sure I stay on task. Also, again, please grab a pen and paper because I will be going into a lot of detail with you guys on this morning. So yeah, let me give you guys about 20 seconds to get back onto the stream, and then we will get started. Please, while we wait, go ahead and drop below where you are from so I can know who I'm talking to. I do plan on going live every week. In the past, I did have certain dates set, but I'm not doing that anymore because life gets crazy. But know that I will be going live every week. Okay, cool. I see somebody, some people signing back on. Thank you guys this morning. But let's go ahead and deep dive in, right? So, hey, good morning. Yes, I had some tech issues this morning, and tech is not allowing me to be great. So I'm definitely going to have to work out and come up with more options because this can't keep happening every week. Okay, so let's go ahead and just deep dive into this right now. You guys know that the current state of the job market it seems a little scary, right? But I really believe after this live stream that you guys, it'll ease some nerves, right? So I know a lot of people are seeing like a bunch of people being laid off right now, and it's causing a fear, but I don't want you guys to be scared, right? I just want you guys to be informed, and I want you to be prepared, and I want you to start thinking with strategy, okay? So, like I was saying, you guys are hearing a lot about people being laid off, right? But I do want to remind you that you're just hearing about the big people, right? You're hearing about the folks at Facebook, excuse me, and you're hearing different ones from what is the other one? Microsoft, right? Google. So you're hearing a lot about these big names, and it can make you seem like everybody is like in despair right now, but that's not true, right? And so a lot of times when you hear about those big names, it can make you feel like this is happening to everybody. And that's why I think it's good to be informed. Let me say this, it's good to be informed, but I don't think it's good for you guys just to keep consuming the information that you're hearing and seeing, because it can have you operating out of a level of fear. And you don't need to be scared. You need to get prepared, right? And so when we're talking about the current job space that we're in right now, it's a little all over the place, right? And I think it's not just the job space, I think it's everywhere. Like everything seems like off right now. Like I buy eggs all the time, right? Me and my family literally eat eggs like every single day. And so I'm like, that huge pack of like maybe 36 eggs used to cost me maybe like $6. Now I'm paying over $15 for it, right? So as we look into just the world overall, things are kind of seeming a little off, right? So I don't want you to think that, that how you're feeling is not a normal feeling, right? That fear, that starting to feel overwhelmed, that feeling of being unsure. But I just want you to be prepared, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the actual job space. You guys are seeing people being laid off. You seeing certain ones that's not even doing any hiring. But again, and this live stream is not going to be only for the people who's looking for a job. It's going to be for you guys also that currently have a job, right? Because there are certain strategies that you're able to use yourself to make sure that you are able to kind of just navigate the time that we are in right now. So the first thing that I want to talk about, guys, is you guys need to start getting very specific and very clear, right, on where you are now and what that next move for you can be, right? So this information is for you guys that are not only in a job search, but you guys that currently have a job, right? This is not the time to be like random. You know what I mean? If you're in a job search, this is not the time to just be scrolling Indeed and be like, let me see what's out there. No, this is a time for you to get really, really clear on the value that you bring in the current job space, right? it's time for you to get clear in what is your skill set, not the task you do every day, but what is your skill set, right? It's going to be really, really important for you to really get focused upon that and start to know what is that value that you bring forth. What is, because if you just start to pick stuff out of the air, right? For one, it's going to be hard to stand out because you're not clear on what it is. You're not clear on that thing that you want. You're not clear on your skill set. You're not even clear who you want to work for, right? So I want you guys to start to get very clear on who do you want to work for? Not necessarily the actual name, right? But what is the person or the people that you want to serve with your skill, and what is the problem that you want to solve with your skill set. All right. Of course, that's going to take you being able to sit down and get really, really clear on the value that you bring. So in order to do that, I want you to look at what have you been doing either in your current job or your past job. What are the problems you have been able to solve with your skill? Right. I really want you to really think about that, because once you get clear on it, now it's time for you to be able to really express it. Because some people be like, I know I can do the job, but I just don't know how to say it. Right. Well, that's just because you haven't really sit down and think about what results do your skill set brings forth. Right. And so when I'm talking about results, like what are the problems that it solves? And once you can get clear on that, that's going to be able to help you to stand out. Because when you're going through the whole just the job search out, it can be stressful, right? I don't like to hear people set a unrealistic expectation and make people feel like if you are in your job search and it gets a little hard, that means that something is being done wrong. No, sometimes a job search can just be hard, right? But it's just about what is the hard. You know what I mean? And I say that because if you can start to get clear, the more clear you are on what you want to do and what is your skill set and who do you want to serve with your skill set, the less stressful your job search will be. Majority of people's job search stress comes from them not knowing what they want, and so now they're in this soup right, where you're seeing all these job titles, you're seeing all these opportunities, and you don't know where you align in the midst of all of that, right? So you being able to be really, really clear on just, hey, like, how do I fit in the midst of all of this is going to help you to be able to even identify what opportunities you really want. Because, I know that, and this is going to be really like the opposite of what everybody else is saying. Because what everybody else is saying is that, hey, in times like this, just pick a job, right? And I agree with that to a certain extent. When I say that, I mean, because, if you have a family, if you have kids to feed, if you have to survive, I get it, right? But that's what we call those survival jobs. So I understand that side. But the other side of that is when you pick a job and you don't give it any thought, and what happens in the next 3 months when you realize that you picked the wrong job? What happens in the next few months when you're like, oh my God, this job is worse than the job that I had? Right? Because you just kind of threw yourself out there. And that's why the best time, guys, to look for a job is when you have a job. So you're not stressed out and you're not overwhelming yourself, right? And you can really sit down and weigh out what this next move is going to be for you. Because of how the job space is now, it's not the time to just pick anything out the top of your head, right? But it's time for you to really evaluate your skill sets and really start to identify those gaps that is in your current skill set, right? Because when you are even when you're trying to advance in your current role, or even when you're trying to look for a new role, what sets you apart is knowing how you are able to provide value. Not that, oh, I can just do the job, but no, I can do the job. This is how well I can do the job, and this is how I can do the job for you, right? So I definitely want to make sure that I'm on the right task with this. And so going on to way 3, which is kind of going to lead a little bit into the point I just made. You guys need to start thinking about ways that you can build your skill set, right? To stay competitive is going to take you increasing your skills, right? And if you are in a role right now, guys, you guys cannot just think that that's not something that you need, because it is, especially if you've been in a role for a long time. What you have to realize and understand is that your skills have now become conformed, right, to that certain place. And that's not a good thing, because that's how your skills start to become stagnated, right? And whatever field you're in, or whatever field you may want to switch to, you need to start getting really like engaged in what's going on in that particular field. You need to learn those new trends, right? What are those new skills that are being added in that field? And when you're talking about being able to add new skills, you're just simply talking about being able to fill in gaps, right? Meaning like, okay, where is it that I want to be, right? And where is it that I am now? And what are those skill gaps there? And it's not always hard skills either. Again, it's not always hard skills. It's not always a software app. It's not it's not always, it's not always a concept, but people lack soft skills. And in a job space like this, right, where it seems like it's all over the place, it's not just going to be hard skills that land you a job. You're going to need those soft skills, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to work with a team, knowing how to be able to express the ideas that you have, right? And so even being able to handle stress is a soft skill. So I don't want you guys to think about, okay, what is a course that I can just go online and take? Because people will spend so much money and time trying to take all these courses online. You're not even getting clear on what is it that you really need to advance. So in your current space right now, I want you guys to even think about, okay, where I am now, I want to eventually move into this role. What does that look like for me? Those skills. Also, talk to people that are already in the role that you want to work in, because don't be wasting no money on no time on classes that you don't even need. Because, like, for instance, I know right now coding is a big thing, right? And there are so many classes to learn how to code. But find out, is that what you really need? Because it could possibly be something that you need down the road, but it doesn't mean that you need it right now. So you need to focus on, what are the skills that I need right now that can get me to where I want to be, even if that is a new role that you want, or even if that's something that's going to allow you to increase in the role that you are in now. Because the more, this the thing, is not about having a whole lot of skills, it's about having the skills that are in high demand. So even with that point, I'll ask you this question: in the field that you are in now, do you even know what are those high end demand skills? Most people don't, right? Because they're just so focused on the job that they do, and they're not focused on, okay, wait a minute, am I putting forth the effort to make sure that I am putting in myself in a position to where I can always capture opportunities. And this is the thing, it's not about you chasing opportunities, it's about you needing to always position yourself to where you can capture those opportunities. Because most people don't even think about their career unless they're looking for a job, and that is the worst mistake that you can make, guys. Is to only focus on your career growth when you're looking for a job. You need to always, when I say always, not every day, right? But it needs to be in your mind. Okay, where am I now? Is this current role, is it aligning on the path that I desire to be on? If a job opportunity just came right now out the blue, could I seize it? And most people can't. With the clients that I work with now, a lot of the clients that I work with, they're not necessarily in the middle of a job search, but they just want to focus on their career path as a whole, which I think is great. That's what I call career management, career maintenance. So, when my clients come to me, they want to improve in two different ways. They're in their career and also personally, meaning that, Alicia, there are some skills that I don't have personally that I need to have in order to succeed in my career as a whole. Right. And so that's why when I am a career coach, but I'm a holistic, meaning that I focus on the whole you rather than just how to be successful in your career. Because 95% of the time, the reason why you're not successful in your career is because there's some lack of growth there, right? There's some key skills as far as you as a person that needs to be there that's not, right? So even when you are thinking about trying to just manage your career, right? I need you to start thinking about, okay, is the current position that I am now, is it in alignment with what it is that I want to do? Right. So making sure that you guys are being aware of what are those key skills that you need to build in order to stay competitive, right? And the point I was just making was that, I have people, I don't do resume services just out in the open anymore. Those are only for the clients that I work with, but I used to, right? And so people will literally send me an email or they'll have like, hey, I have this great job opportunity. I was wanting to know. Maybe want a resume in like a day or two. What? Mm-mm. It takes at least a week and a half to prepare a resume that's really good, right? And so but it's like if you keep the resume updated at all times, right? You'll be able to seize those opportunities when they come. And this is what I mean when I say staying ready so you don't have to get ready, especially in the job place that we're in now. You guys need to be staying ready, right? As far as your resume, as far as your page on LinkedIn, these things need to constantly be updated. So when opportunities come, you can seize those opportunities, right? But I don't want you guys to just only think about a job when it's time. Only think about your career when it's time to look for a job. No. And then that which is kind of leads me into way 3 is that you need to be able to highlight your accomplishments, highlight your results, right? I have something called a brag book, right? Which is a really detailed spreadsheet to where you are able to, you know, keep track of the results you bring forth at work. Because a lot of people don't even think about the results, right? They think about the task, the task, the task. My boss has me doing this. I need to do that. Right. But I want you to think about what are the results that come forth. And people, when it comes to their page on LinkedIn or just anything, they struggle with, okay, what is it that I do? What is it that I do? It's not what you do, friend. It's the results that you bring forth. And so when you focus on the results that you bring forth, you're not just a doer, right? And that is what's going to make you very competitive is when you stop being a doer, right? And move into, hey, this is the value that I bring. Right. And so even now, you guys can really sit back and think about what is the value that you bring forth. That's what's going to help you to really see what separates you from everybody else. Right. Because going through the job interview process is not the person that is the most experienced who gets the job. I'll say this again. It is not the person that is the most experienced who gets the job. It is the person that is able to articulate their value the best, right? And this is why you'd be like, how did they get the job? I have way more experience than them. Well, they were able to articulate their value the best. They were able to show the other side how they were able to help them more clearly. And this is why when you're going through the job interview process, you can't just assume that they know this, right? If they called you in, they saw something there, right? Because nobody's going to call anybody in that they can't see themselves hiring, right? But there are still gaps there that need to be filled, right? And so, but it's your job to fill those gaps. It is your job to be able to show them how you can help them, but you can only do that if you know the problems that they need to be solved. But that comes in the whole job search prep, that comes with you being able to really research them and find out the problems that they need solved. But I don't want you guys to think that this stuff just happens automatically. It's going to take work. And the more competitive the job space becomes, the more you will have to put in the work. That's just the reality. I know that we're in a society now where everybody wants everything so easy, but you're going to have to put in the work. But the point is to making sure that you're putting the work in the right thing. Right? You spamming applications on Indeed.com, that's not you having the work in the right area, right? But you sitting down thinking about what it is that you want, your skill set, how you are able to add value, those skill gaps, right? That's putting in the right work. And the more pre-work, I like to call it, you do in your job search, the less stressful your job search would be. Not saying that there won't be some stress there, right? But the less stressful that job search is going to be, because you have now prepared yourself. So many people jump into a job search without even thinking, right? The thought comes to mind, ooh, I need to look for a job. Bam, let me go on Indeed.com and see what they got. Like, have you thought about, like, you know, what do you want to do? The thing that you don't want to do. Have you thought about any of this? What skills do you want to gain? What skills do you not want to use anymore? You got to start thinking about these things, because the more pre-work you do, then the less stressful that job search would be, right? So I want you guys to start putting yourself, like, move away from these are the tasks I do. And I want you to move into, these are the problems I help companies solve. I'm gonna say it again. I want you guys to move away from, this is what I do, move into the thought of, these are the problems that I help companies solve, right? When you can get clear on the problems that you're able to help them solve, you will be able to articulate your value so well, right? To where they are sitting on the other side of you and they're like, man, this girl gets us. She gets what we need, right? But it's hard for you to be able to express what they need when you haven't even found out what you need. So I want you to start thinking about that, um, and start to think about, what is the value that I want to bring. Somebody said, I saw something called rage applying. Yeah, I saw that. That was funny. Yeah, these terminologies that they are coming up with, the quiet quitting, quiet hiring, rage applying. Child, it's a lot, and even with the whole quiet quitting thing, I don't agree with it. I understand the concept, right? Mm, but I feel like I think it creates bad habits, because it creates habits to where you feel like you got to do stuff quietly. And when I say that, it means it does not train you to just speak up and ask for the things that you want, or to speak up and state and just to establish boundaries. So that's why I kind of have mixed feelings about it, because it just doesn't create good habits, right? And so I know it's sometimes it's cute for folks to just kind of throw these words on stuff, rather than to develop the skills that you need to develop in your career as you go on, and you don't have to put these little cute names on there. So I want to go into the third one. This third, no, this is a bonus. I guess this is the fourth one. This is probably like the most important to me. Well, not the most important, but this is at the top of the list, right? So I want to talk about another way to thrive in the job market, and this can help you either if you have a job or if you're job searching. Think about building a brand for yourself, right? When we talk about branding, it's not something that just companies do. Everybody needs a brand, right? But I don't want you guys to overthink it, though, right? A brand is a way that you, again, can attract opportunities, which can definitely help you in your job search, because you're not just applying and looking and trying to, hunt. I always say, those that have a brand, it turns you into the hunted rather than the hunter, right? So having a brand can really put you in a position to where you can attract opportunities for yourself, and you don't have to work as hard for them. Because the thing about it is, with opportunities, like, let me say this. These companies are always hiring. Majority of the time, they don't even have a job ad out, especially in this market. When it comes to companies, they won't be putting out job ads like that. Why? Because there's so many people who need jobs, right? And they do not want to be spammed, right? And it's expensive, right? So this will be the times where they'll have the people in HR just going out and seeing and trying to source for folks, right? Which is the number one spot is going to be on LinkedIn. So don't think that if that particular place is there, if there's no job ad for them, then they're probably not hiring. No, 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 no. Right? You got to think about, how can I put myself in a position to where I can be found? Right? I was in HR for over 10 years, guys. That's all I did was hire, 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 hire. Right? I would tell people, they hired me to find you, but you have to be found, right? So you have to start thinking about, am I even in a place to where they can find me? And it's not that nobody wants to hire you. Just that you haven't put yourself in a position to where they can find you, right? A great place for that is LinkedIn. If you guys are not on LinkedIn, if you're not actively engaging on LinkedIn, right? And even if you're one that you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on LinkedIn, your page on LinkedIn should be the bomb. You need to have it based on the actual keywords that's related to the field that you want to go in. It should be so clear on the value that you want to bring. You need to have an updated what is it called? Updated picture. I cannot think of that for some reason. On your page, it needs to be selling you if you don't want to be so active on LinkedIn, right? And that's what people don't realize, that your profile on LinkedIn, guys, is keyword optimized, meaning that when people are looking for folks with your skill set, we're putting in keywords. And if those keywords are not even on your profile, you won't even show up, though you could be the perfect fit for that position. But because you don't have yourself set up the correct way on LinkedIn, you won't even show up, right? So it's not that, oh, I don't have the experience, is nobody can find you. And that's why you can't just rely on job boards. I am not against a job board whatsoever, right? I think they have their use, right? But you want to be able to have as much human interaction in your job search as possible. And a job board can be really competitive, especially when you have 500 people applying to one position. But when you start to think about, okay, not just only how can I find opportunities, but how can I also make sure that I can attract those opportunities, you just give yourself more options and you're not putting yourself in a little bitty box like this, right? So I want you guys to start thinking about even having a brand of your own. Your company should not be in your headline space on your page. I say this again, I see this on LinkedIn all the time. How and guys, when I say headline, I mean that little spot right underneath your name, because that headline space is one of the most keyword optimized parts of your page, right? And then also that headline space is really important, because when you do show up in a search, all they see is your face and that little space right there. So that really needs to be geared towards what you want. People tend to brand their page on LinkedIn towards where they are now, but you need to brand your page towards where it is that you want to go. What are the roles that you want to attract? And so I want you guys to start even to think about that and think about, is does the current profile that I have now, is it having me in a light to where I can attract the opportunities that I want? Because people, like, I always get these random people asking me about jobs on LinkedIn, but the jobs are never really anything that I want. Hmm what is your page branded towards, right? So I want you to start to even think about that and think about, am I having myself in a place to where people can easily find me, right? So a little bit back on about you being able to build a brand. I want to talk about this really quickly so it doesn't scare you. We're talking about having a brand built, and a brand is really, really, really powerful, because you can control the way that people see you, right? Or it is easy to identify who you are, right? For instance, I will use myself, the brand, and I want you guys to do this. If somebody was like, "Who is Alicia and what is it that she does?" I want you to put that down. Like, what would pop into your mind, right? Because what I want to do is I want to show you the power of having a brand. And so having a brand just means that you are attracting the right people, right? Like the right eyes are on you. And it also, and a brand works really, really, really good too if you're wanting to, like, maybe change careers and you're wanting to kind of move into something that you don't have a lot of hands-on experience with yet. A brand can really allow you to appear a lot more stronger in your skill set or even the value because of what you do. Now, again, your brand is your page on LinkedIn. Your brand is your actual resume. Like, all of this stuff is in your brand. I see a lot of people with just like everyday jobs posting content on LinkedIn, which I think is great. For one, I think it builds a lot of skills, right? It helps you to step out of there when you're a little afraid. I think it makes people become a lot more confident, right? Because the more you share your thoughts, the more you share your expertise, the more confident you'll feel. I think what tends to stop people from posting content on LinkedIn as just like everyday people, because they think that the only people that post content is people that owns a business, but that's shifting dramatically. Is that they feel like they have to be an expert, or they're even afraid to call themselves an expert, but an expert is not somebody who knows everything. It's just somebody that knows a little bit more than the people they are speaking to. And then also, it's not just about you having content to teach somebody something. You just need to get in a habit of sharing your perspective, sharing what you think about stuff, right? And this is going to help you to be able to even come out of that box that a lot of you guys are in, because you can find yourself not wanting to see certain opportunities because there's fear there. I don't know if I can do this. And what you do is you train yourself that whenever you don't feel like you have enough, you don't move forward. And that is a horrible habit to start, right? And you train yourself to always live in your just comfort zone. You train yourself to just always, hide behind fear, right? And it's hard to advance in anything in life, in your career, if you keep on, if you base every decision off of your fear. Right. I would not be where I am today. I would not have a podcast. I would not be live streaming. I would not be doing any of this stuff if I would let my fear hold me back. Right. And because I've been able to step out of this fear, I've been able to help so many people advance in their careers. Right. And so a lot of times it's not just about you. It's about what is the goal and who is it that I want to serve. Right. And so thinking about a brand, I've seen people get job opportunities off LinkedIn just because they are always sharing their perspective. They have been able to build a brand to where they can attract opportunities that they want. And this is what you're going to see a shift to. It's going to be less and less about what job to apply for, but it's going to be more and more about who can I attract, right? And so again, nothing wrong with a job board. But if all you're doing in your job search is applying on job boards, you're doing it wrong, and you're putting a lot of work into the wrong space, right? So which this is like the next part of this point. I think it's super important for you guys to start building relationships. I can't even stress to you how important this is going to be moving forward, right? Networking. Everybody's afraid of that word. You don't need to be afraid of it. It's just having conversations, right? That is what it is. Having conversations. It's about you being able to, when we talk about relationships, not best friends, just relationships, right? And I know that people don't like hearing this, but it's always been this way. Not always. Well, it's always been this way, and it will be this way even the more. It's going to be about who you know, right? Building relationship pushes you to the front of the line. So when you talk about building relationships, you first got to know, what is it that I want? What is the goal? Right? Then you want to start surrounding yourself with people that are already there, or surrounding yourself with people that know people who are already there. You know what I mean? And you want to start to put in the time and the effort to just have conversations. For a lot of people are afraid of networking. If you are afraid to start conversations with people, start small. Start engaging on posts on LinkedIn of the people that you, I don't want to say be like, but the people that you want to be around, right? If you're like, I don't want to just talk to them, cool. If they post content on LinkedIn, go engage with them, right? And so it's all about, I think people discourage themselves because they think about, I have to take a big step. It's not about taking a big step, it's about taking a step. Like small steps will eventually get you the same result as big steps. Now, you being able to take big steps, of course, it'll get you there faster, but you being able to take small steps, it'll still get you there, right? And it is about, guys, building skills. I cannot stress this enough. Like, you and how you operate in your job search is not just about doing a job search, but it's about the person that you become when you start to do these things, right? And it's about transformation, right? And I want you guys to think outside of the box. Think, okay, what are those things in me that I know I need to change? Those traits in me that's holding me back in my career and my life. If you're one that like you're like, I just really don't like to let me say this. You could be one that like, I really don't like to just talk a lot, or I feel very insecure whenever I have to share my thoughts about something, right? Dig into that, all right? And say, okay, how will this trait stop me from getting to where I want to be? And now, once you can identify that, then start thinking about why is it that I'm afraid to share my thoughts? Like, why? And then it's all about you being able to identify what that root is, because you can't outrun you. You can get job after job after job after job after job, but friend, you're still going to end up with you. Right. And so, we think that if I switch a job or if I change jobs, that means that, oh, I'll be good, or I have a fresh start. But you can't have a fresh start if there's no fresh you. So chances are you're going to end up having the same problems that you did in all your past jobs, and so when and I do believe that you may have to change jobs, because some people are just really hard to work with, meaning there are certain work environments that just it's draining, right? But a lot of your problems can be solved if you just grow, if you learn to adapt more, you know what I mean? And so um and that moves you away from trying to chase this perfect job, because there is no perfect job. Every job that you have is going to have something that you don't like about it. Right now, of course, you have the power to choose what you will deal with and what you won't. But a lot of those things that you say, I don't want to have to deal with, could easily be solved if you would just develop skills, right? And those that you that are maybe in lead roles, or you desire to move into lead roles, is going to be vital, vital, vital for you to start to develop those soft skills. It's going to be vital for you to learn how to have tough conversations. It's going to be vital for you to learn how to hear feedback that you don't like. It's going to be vital for you to learn how to work on a team with different personalities. It's going to be vital for you to learn how to just navigate these workplace issues, because they will be everywhere. They may not be the same issues, but they will be everywhere, even if you work from home. A lot of people, they desire to work from home because they don't want to deal with the workplace stuff. It is going to follow you. It will follow you through Skype or Zoom or whatever. They're still there. You still have to work with these people. So you're gonna have to start to identify, man, what are those things in me that's keeping me back from what it is that I want in life, right? Start having hard conversations with yourself. Become more self-aware. Like, don't make excuses for the things that you do. Start to find ways to improve them. Somebody said my job is draining, right? Girl, I've been there, right? But even that word draining, deep dive into that. Like, what does that mean, draining? Right? Because sometimes we can say, we use words, but we don't give ourselves the actual context of what that means. Right? Because if you just keep saying, I don't like something, you haven't really gotten clear on what it is that you don't like and why you don't like it, chances are you'll find yourself in the same boat over and over again. But when you say that the job you have is draining, okay, why does it feel draining, right? Why does it feel like, because to me, when you use the word draining, that's telling me that it just sucks everything out of me. But what is causing that? Is it the workload? Is it the people that you work around? Is it the skills that you're having to use? Is it keeping you back from things in your personal life that does fuel you, right? Like me, I'm really, 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 really involved in my church, which is one of the reasons why I started a business, because I wanted to be able to be more available, right? I love my church. And so it's one of those things in my life that fuels me. So if I had a job or a business that kept me away from that, my job would feel draining, right? Because there is a certain amount of emotional output, certain amount of physical output, whatever you want to call it, that a job will have on you. It doesn't matter how easy your job is, it's going to require something of you, right? But when you can start to think about, what fuels me, and does my career allow me the opportunity to get to the thing that actually fuels me. Yeah, yeah, I have the reasons why it's draining. I have Okay, good, good, good. That's great. That's great. And I say that because, I think it's important to put words to how we feel, because if you don't have words to how you feel, then it could just be simply an emotion that we tend to focus on and not focus on the problem, because a problem and an emotion is not the same thing. The emotion comes from the problem that you have, but you have to be able to identify that, right? So when you do move into your next position, I don't want this, because I know in my last job it was this, So self reflection is really, really important. I think it's one of the most important things. Self reflection and self awareness is so important, because now you can actually identify what it is that you need to do. And two, being self-aware can help you to hold yourself accountable. Even in myself, I know there's a lot of the problems that I used to have. It wasn't because I was being done so wrong or all these other excuses. It wasn't because I was a victim. It's because I didn't want to face things about myself that needed to develop. Right. And so this is why I do what I do. This is why I focus heavily on personal development, because I don't want you to get the dream job and it still doesn't go the way that you thought it was going to go, because you didn't allow yourself to grow in the way that you should have grown, right? And so this job search is about job search. This live stream is about you guys being able to be in the job space in this year for 2023 and be successful, right? But I also want you guys to think about not only how can you grow in your career in 2023, think about how can you grow in 2023, because a lot of your successes is hinged upon that. And this is why I have a workshop coming up for February 1st through the 3rd, where I'm going to be showing you guys how to elevate your career. And this is not going to be talking about a job search. I might hit on it, because I know there are some points, but it's going to be talking about how you're able to show up as you want to show up in the workplace. Like, what are those skills that you need to be able to develop, guys, to get you to where you want to be, right? I'm gonna teach you how to be more self-aware. I'm gonna teach you how to be able to understand the value that you bring and how to be able to express it and also leverage that to advance in your career. And so this workshop is going to be through the 1st through the 3rd. You're spending 3 days with me for about an hour and a half. And there is an option to where you're able to have a call with me, right? And so I want you guys to start thinking about in your career in this job space of 2023, what are some ways that you can just and stand out amongst all the noise. And it's not as difficult as you think it is. It just takes you being consistent. It takes you being able to be clear on what it is that you want and how does that separate you from everybody else. And so I don't want you guys to be scared. I don't want you guys to be so consumed in the news, right? Um, if you have a relationship with the Lord, you need to be operating out of faith. Because trust me, as somebody that owns a business, I have to keep up with what is happening in my space. I have to. If I didn't now, that'll be dumb. I have to know what's happening, but I don't have to make every choice off of what is happening, right? Because I know that what is a reality for other people it doesn't have to be that for me. And the same thing for you. Yeah, there are a lot of people who don't have jobs right now, but it almost has to be to a point where you're like, what does that have to do with me? Because what's going to happen is, guys, is that it's going to be so many people afraid, oh, I really want to look for another job, but there are so many other people out there who need a job. So I probably won't. No, don't just count yourself out like that. Absolutely not. Right? Just do what you need to do to put yourself in a stronger space. Like I don't understand this. You find yourself you know in fear. Like, we do not operate off of fear, right? You got to be confident not in what you have, but know that if I face a problem, I can find the solution, right? And so, during this recession or whatever you want to call it, don't think that you can't be great through it. You could still get success because a lot of people are going to give up, right? But it's about you being able to stand out and be able to say no, like I'm not concerned about that. Trust me, I'm a business owner, right? So I see a lot of people in my space going back to work, but I'm not doing that. Like, no, I can be successful. Could it take extra work? Absolutely, but I'm not going to let what's happening around me to to have me in a box. No, I'm not doing that, and I don't want you to do that either. Right? So don't think just because like the inflation and all this stuff is happening right now that means that the dreams that you want or the goals that you want is over with. No, right? So I want to do a quick recap. Yeah, this is really helping me in how I view my skills. Yes, I'm happy to hear that. I'm learning to change my mindset, change my words. Change your words, girl. Who I cannot even talk about this. It is so important to be careful what you speak to yourself. It is so important, right? It's so important. And people don't realize the things that they say to themselves. Like that is what comes your reality, is what you speak to yourself. Right. And so I want you guys to move away from that self-doubt stuff. Ain't nobody got time for that. Right. This is something I tell people all the time. When they be like, I want this job, but I just don't know. I'm like, go to LinkedIn and in that little search bar, put the job title that you want. Hit search. Then after you hit search, hit people. It's going to show you all, like everybody on LinkedIn that has that particular job title. And look how many people have that job title. You're going to say 200,000. So you mean to tell me that 200,000 people, and these are only people on LinkedIn. There are a lot of people who don't even have a page on LinkedIn, but there are 200,000 people with this job title, right? And you don't think that you can get it? Like that, there was one time I looked and there are like 43 million people are millionaires. I'm like, ain't no way that 43 million people are better than me. I just like I just refuse to believe that, right? So when you start seeing, man, all these people have what I want, that shouldn't discourage you. You could be like, okay, if they did it, I can do it too, right? It's just about how you frame stuff in your mind, right? So it shouldn't be, oh, I don't have the experience. It's like, okay, what can I do to get the experience, right? What am I able to do to fill these gaps in so I can have that job? So it's just about you being able to not always find reasons as to why you can't do something, find reasons as to why you can, because there will always be reasons why you can't do something, always. But it's about, what do you put your focus on? Right? It's kind of like what I was saying for myself. It's plenty of reasons that could tell me, oh, Alicia, things are getting a little scary. You may want to go back to work. No, I'm focusing on what is it I need to do so I can be successful during these hard times. Right? I think it's I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Quick recap on what are the ways that you can thrive in the current job space that we're in now. My first one, I said to get specific and start to get really clear on your skill set and the value that you bring. Number two was build your skills, start to identify those skill gaps and things of that sort. The third one was to make sure that you highlight your experiences and your accomplishments, get clear on the value that you bring. Also, the next one was you being able to build a brand and establish relationships, guys. All right. So those are the ways that you're able to thrive in the current job space. If you have any questions, guys, please let me know. I got tired of being sick and tired and have been upskilling in Salesforce. Good. Look at you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. And see, and that's the thing, like you said, you got to get tired of being sick and tired. You got to be like, you know what I'm doing is not working for me. You have two options. You're either going to complain or you're going to find yourself doing something about it. And I tell people, you would, because people will find themselves, I'm just stuck, I don't know what to do. And sitting in something you don't like and not doing something about it is frustrating when you just sit in something and you don't do anything about it. But as soon as you start to make steps towards what it is that you want, you're going to automatically feel better because you're like, you know what, I'm not going to be here long, right? Somebody says, how do I build my brand? Hey, that's something that I actually talked about. So this live stream that I'm doing now, it is going to be saved on my channel on YouTube. And I am Alicia Perkins. So I went in and I explained all that. But to just kind of do like a quick overview of it, I was saying how if you go on and it's the thing is, it's not about just you having a brand. It's about you being able to know what kind of opportunities are you wanting to attract. And so when you're talking about a brand, you're talking about your whole LinkedIn page. You're talking about how you speak about your expertise. But this whole live stream is going to be saved. So and my name on YouTube is I am on there. So any more questions, guys? Any more questions? Again, I will be going live every week. So please make sure that you guys stay with me. My number one platform is LinkedIn. That's just my jam. I am on IG, but I just do a lot of stories on IG and things of that sort. If you guys are wanting to get exclusive content from me, make sure that you do join my tribe at careert.me. That's careertea.me, and you can get exclusive content from me every week. Also, remember I am having that the workshop February 1st through the 3rd, where I will be teaching you how to elevate your career, get clear on your skill set, get clear on the value that you bring. I also will help you to identify those things that are holding you back from being able to experience the career success that you desire. So you can definitely find more information out on that at I am aliciaperkins.com. If you guys do not have any questions, I do plan to go live again on Wednesday. So if you guys have any questions or if there's any particular topics that you want me to kind of speak more on, please let me know. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.